Alright, so we're building your ace. We have picked ace. Did you settle on a specialization, or did you jump over to species?
I kind of jumped over to species because I kept on feeling like I was going back and forth between the two, and I feel like if I just focus on one, just pick a species and then go from there, then it'll be probably better for me.
Okay. Well, I mean, sometimes you like D&D where you look at your class and then it helps you pick your race because you want to pick a race that coincides with your class. If you know that you need more agility and stuff like that, you can kind of um, narrow down the species selection since there's like 60 of them.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, there's a lot.
but again, you can always spend XP to make anything into anything.
Okay.
I wonder what the difference in the Ace driver and the Explorer driver are.
Yeah, it's gonna look at that, because it was suggested, and I keep on hitting my mic stand.
Terrible person.
Yeah. I also like how there's this race, the Lepi, which are literally just rabbits, just anthropomorphic rabbits.
Talent trees are the same.
Oh, so then what's? Oh, is really the difference just what you start off with as being an explorer?
Yeah, so your career skills change. So
Mm-hmm.
Ace gets cool, gunnery, mechanics, perception, piloting, space piloting, planetary, and ranged light. Whereas the Explorer would get astrogation, cool, knowledge, lore, knowledge outer rim, knowledge xenealogy, perception, piloting space, and survival. So the Explorer has more like knowing things and surviving, whereas the Ace has more actually flying and stuff.
So as much as it feels to me like this would belong in the group, sounds like an elaborate reason to be a furry, but okay. I feel like the Leppy might be the leading choice for me,
What book are they from?
possibly. I don't know. It's just in the.
Stand by. I'm going to open up Mr. Ogdude's character generator because you can just go to the species and it'll tell you which book it's from.
Oh.
You said Lepi, right?
Yep, Lepi.
That is, in fact, Donnie Darko Bunny Rabbit.
Yeah.
It's the unofficial species menagerie. Don't believe it's a officially printed species,
Oh. Okay.
but it doesn't seem like it's too overpowered. You just get a rank in athletics. So you get 1 athletics, 10 plus brawn for wound, 10 plus strain for willpower is standard. You get 100 XP, which is mostly standard. And you get all twos with 1 1 and 1 3, which is standard. So I don't see it being particularly OP or anything.
Okay. Well, I'll keep scrolling through, see what else I can find, but that one seems pretty good. Like, they're fast, they're flighty, they want to go out and do things. They're
Yeah.
curious and they want to explore.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw in the Discord chat, I put the 3 Edge of the Empire modules, like synopsis, back of the book summary. And I'm
Uh huh.
kind of trying to get a feel for what folks want to play. And it looks like Steve and Ilya both kind of vote for Beyond the Rim sounding like a good one. I read the overview and it does seem kind of interesting. And it specifically says it's meant for beginner parties but can be adjusted for higher level stuff. Because the weird thing about Star Wars is there's no good way to tell whether a module is the correct level for something because there's no levels in Star Wars. If you are a level 8 fighter in D&D, you have all the abilities of a level 8 fighter. If you have 300 XP on your character in Star Wars, you could have spent all 300 of that XP buying knowledge skills and still suck at all of the combat things. And there's no bounded accuracy that says, well, you've got 300 XP now. You should be able to fight something for a 300 XP person. You can make a completely gimped Star Wars character. You can also make a min-max Star Wars character that just wrecks things at level equivalent 1.
Yeah, but what's the fun in that? So let's see, I'm looking at these. Beyond the Rim does sound pretty cool.
Oh.
I wonder what Kai is barking at. I can't tell because my blinds are down. It's hot outside. Wanted to close the windows and keep the sun out.
There's always the Rodians. You could be a Rodian pilot.
Yeah, that was another one because I was looking at the Frank. I don't even know how you pronounce that. I keep on wanting to say Frank, and I know obviously it's not a Frank.
I don't know. I'm in the R's right now.
They were, yeah, and they're saying that they were like modified Rodians, and I was like, well, then I might look into the Rodians.
Rodian is your standard 2s across the board, 1 up, 1 down. 10 plus on wound and 10 plus on strain, so average. 100 starting XP, which is alright. It's more than most races, or most species, sorry. You get a free skill in survival, and you get a talent called Expert Tracker, which doesn't necessarily line straight into your thing, but if you're playing Beyond the Rim, you are trying to track something down, so it won't hurt. You begin the game with 1 rank of survival, but you cannot train it beyond 2 at character creation. And you gain a talent called Expert Tracker. So let's go look at talents. Remove a setback per rank of Expert Tracker from any check to find or follow tracks. Survival checks made to track targets takes 50% less time than normal, and unfortunately this does not increase with any additional ranks of Expert Tracker.
Interesting.
I mean, you're clearly not the party's tracker, but I don't think anyone else has any kind of tracking, and Beyond the Rim kinda has just a hair of that in there. Not mandatory, but not something that you would never use, basically. Not going to be game breaking and not going to define your character, but just I get agility for being an awesome pilot. I get a bunch of XP to spend on things, and I still get this cool thing off to the side. Alright.
Sounds pretty cool. I'm in the ends now. I'm looking at the Nosarian.
You should be a Solonian.
Oh.
Space otters.
Hey, that sounds amazing.
They get 3 agility and 3 willpower, but they're not very cunning, and they don't have a good presence, and they have low starting experience. You could always be a Celestin.
Oh,
Yeah, you know, Lando's co-pilot in Return of the Jedi with the double lip thing.
ah,
They get a free rank in astrogation. They are 2s across the board, 1 up in agility, 1 down in cunning. They get astrogation rank free, and they get a free skilled jockey talent.
oh. Yeah, Salonian. Just this the image here is just like definite, just furry art. That's just the first thing I saw when I saw that.
Skilled jockey removes any setback. Remove 1 setback die per skilled jockey rank from any piloting planetary or piloting space check that you attempt.
Which is awesome. Because that means I can be more likely to do really cool things.
So you will already have skilled jockey when you start getting it on your tree, which is if you take driver, skilled jockey is on the second tree. So within about your first 30 XP spent in your talent tree, you will acquire a second one, and you'll be removing, if any apply, you'll be removing 2 setback die from any of your pilot skills. Plus it comes with a free astrogation.
Which is also nice.
Yeah, so even if you don't end up spending a point on astrogation, you'll get that free one from your species, so that regardless of who's doing the flying or who's doing the co-piloting, somebody can be the I'm steering while the other person calculates the jump to hyperdrive.
Yeah, that seems pretty good. I think that might be the way to go.
Yeah. There's always the mantis men. You could be a verpine.
I was just looking at the Rodian. So the Rodian, that's like Greedo.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Salonian looks pretty alright.
Well, we can slap it in there, and then you can continue to do more race checking. And if you see something you absolutely want more, it is not too much work to replace. And if need be, we'll just start from scratch, and then we'll get more experience building another character. Because I'm still learning character creation myself. So that's one of the reasons that I'm walking y'all through it. And one of the reasons that I'm recording the shit is so that I can get better at doing it. Final answer on Celestin for now.
Wait, Celestin or Salonian?
Celestin? Wait, let me go look at Salonian.
I
Space
was looking
Otter?
at the wrong thing.
Space Otter?
I was totally. Is that what it is? Looks, yeah, Space Otter.
Salonian is Space Otter. Celestin,
Celestin
is the Lando's co-pilot that comes with all of the piloting bonuses. But
then, yeah.
Again, totally up to you. Don't let me talk you into something you don't want to do.
Alright, I can do Celestin. Yeah, that's good.
There's some decent Celestin art out there too.
No, that looks great.
All right, let's slap him down there, and like I said, if you don't like the way it ends up, we'll just build another one.
Okay. So let me. I downloaded the character generator just now.
Oh, Ogdude's thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
So let me go here, and I'll just go folder.
So they are 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2. Cool. your starting XP is 100.
Cool. It is unzipping, expanding, sort of. I don't know. I'm loading the thing.
Good job. You're so great at this.
Yeah.
You get 1 rank in astrogation. Cool. And off the bat, your wound threshold and your strain threshold will both be 12 because they are 10 pluses, right? Yep, 10 plus. Did you pick your specialization yet?
Still looking at it. Well, now that I have a species, I can look at that. So I'm trying to decide between driver and pilot. And so far, the things I look at, I go, "Oh, this is cool." They both have.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
My nose is super itching today.
Oh no. Yeah, probably go with pilot. Just because I'll end up getting Let's Ride, which should be nice. And then, yeah, I think that works.
Okay. That'll allow Leah to not dump so much into piloting. She can focus on astrogation and co-piloting, and then she can put a lot more points into being charmy and the smooth talking smuggler thing like she was doing with Pash in the starter set. So you guys will have your damage dealing, tinkering, mechanic, working Shadrifan. You will have your intimidating, damage dealing, melee, damage soaking tank for Ashley's character. You will have you, the pilot, with all the cool piloting and astrogation stuff, and then you'll have Leah backfilling on pilot stuff and being party face. So that'll be like you hit all of the things. There's not a lot of knowledge checks going on from what I've seen in the party, but we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
But you said pilot?
Yes, sir.
So pick 2 out of astrogation, gunnery, piloting planetary, and piloting space.
Piloting planetary. And what were the other 2? Or the other 3? I guess I have those right here, huh?
Yeah.
Astrogation, gunnery, piloting planetary, piloting space.
So gunnery is
Probably just piloting planetary and piloting space.
okay. Gunnery is guns on ships. It has nothing to do with like in the flesh combat.
Yeah.
But you, even without a rank in it, you have 3 ability die in gunnery already, so it's not lacking.
Okay.
And I count on my version of your character sheet that you have spent all 7 of your initial skills.
Sweet.
Giving you proficiency in astrogation, cool, perception, piloting, two proficiency in piloting space, and 1 in ranged light, which you can also see on the stream if you're watching that.
I do have it up, but it's on my phone, so it's kind of hard to see.
No worries.
I was gonna see about putting it on my. Gonna see if my really old tablet can run Twitch, but I haven't done it yet.
No worries. Now we get to spend XP. You can spend XP in multiple ways. You can spend it to increase your characteristics, buy skills, and buy talents off your talents tree.
Okay.
So, you can never increase your characteristics using XP except during character creation. So that's normally the first step a lot of folks look at. It is not super important that you try to strive for like getting a 5 or anything now. Normally down at the bottom of a lot of talent trees, there's a way to bump a characteristic up, but keep in mind that if you spend 10 XP on skills now, you could have spent that 10 XP bumping, well, bad example. If you spend 20 XP on skills now, you could have spent that 20 bumping up your cunning to a 2, and then spend your first 20 as a character to get those same skills. But if you buy the skills now, you cannot use that first 20 to upgrade the characteristics. So it's worth looking at your characteristics and seeing if you feel like any of the other ones should be a 3, or whether you want to bring that cunning up to a 2, or your agility up to 4 and just be like the world's hot shottiest pilot.
Okay. So let me go to one of these. Windows.
Page 92 in the book will tell you how you spend your XP.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was going to search for. 92. What page is this? That's 91. That's 92. Wait.
There's a chart down at the bottom. It says spending starting experience. It's step 6 in big bold letters across the top.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. I'm an idiot. I'm looking at the wrong book.
Oh, sorry. I'm in fucking. Yeah, I can find it in Age if you want, since all your stuff's in that book.
Okay.
102.
102. Okay.
I had a habit of going, oh, I'm going to be looking back and forth at my talent tree. So I would go to my talent tree in Edge of the Empire where my talent tree was, and then I would have my Age of Rebellion book open to the thing that teaches me how much they each cost, so that I didn't have to keep flipping back and forth.
Makes sense.
Yep, but you will see that you can upgrade your characteristics, and the cost is 10 times the rating that you are purchasing. So if you bump your 1 up to a 2, that's 20. If you bump a 2 up to a 3, that's 30, etc. You have to do them
one step at a time.
One step at a time. You can't just go, I'm going to buy a 5, that's 50.
And spend 50. You can't raise any characteristic above a 5 during character creation, which makes sense.
You said pilot specialization, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You have 100 XP to work with. You can purchase more XP by taking more obligation. We'll get over that. We'll get onto that in just a second. But normally, a lot of folks take the 10 obligation to get more money. It is up to you whether you want to double down on spending obligation and having bigger debts to squeak in some more XP. But let's spend our, or at least a large chunk of our 100 first.
Okay. I guess I should find out really the characteristics, what they represent.
So each of the skills has which characteristic feeds into it. Brawn will affect all your melee fighting and stuff like that, which I don't see you doing a lot. However, it does also affect your encumbrance and your soak value, I want to say. Should have remembered this from earlier. Stand by. Default soak value is equal to your brawn. So yeah, the more brawn you have, the more. Remember when you would get hit, if you had armor that had soak on it, somebody hits you for 5, but your soak is 3, so you would only take 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your brawn is currently 2, so if somebody hits you for 5, you only take 3 of it.
That's cool. I mean, it seems not so bad.
No, brawn's not a terrible thing to have. However, not mandatory to go over 2 for your character.
Yeah, it seems like, a little bit of brawn, okay, but it doesn't need to be a beefy guy, a beefy boy.
Yeah. Agility is going to be all your shooting and flying, both of which are important to you. Keep in mind that bumping it up to a 4 is 40, but that is not at all bad because it will increase both of your piloting. It will increase shooting small weapons and large weapons, as well as increasing gunnery if for whatever reason you ever find yourself on a ship's gun. And it will also increase your coordination, which is like balancing, running, jumping type stuff.
Yeah.
And then there was one other thing that feeds agility. What is it? I feel like I'm missing one. Oh, stealth. Duh. Sneaking.
Well, I think what cunning would probably be something I would want as well.
Cunning is for your lying and your perception and your skullduggery, which is any thieving, pickpocketing type stuff, as well as your streetwise, which is just having good street knowledge. If you are in fact got some of them thievy vibes going on and you want to like know a little bit about, not necessarily know, because know is intelligence, but if you want to be able to like talk to people on the street, pick up on traps, get a vibe when things don't feel quite right, and lie to people, you might be interested in spending 20 just to bump that cunning up to 2, because that's a really cheap fix for cunning being your 1.
Yeah. And I mean, that right there, that's ends up being 60 total, right? 40 for boosting agility and 20 for boosting cunning.
Yeah, which still leaves you with 40 to go, and that's 40 that you can put into upping your skills or buying stuff off that talent tree.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
So skills is 5 times the rank of the skill you're buying, and then it is, if you are buying a skill that is not one of your career skills, it's 5 times the skill you're buying plus 5. So if you wanted to buy like say leadership, it would be 5 for the first rank, but then it's not a career skill, so 5 more, so it would cost you 10 for the first rank. If you bought another rank of cool though, since that is your second rank of cool, it would only be 10 since it's a career skill.
Okay.
But is there anything on your talent tree you absolutely desire?
I mean, let's ride. Seems pretty good to have.
Once per,
Already, am I? Huh?
once per round, you may mount or dismount a vehicle or beast or enter a cockpit as an incidental. Yeah, that's pretty neat. And it's only 5.
So it's just 5 total because it's just 1 rank, right?
Sorry, I was talking to Ashley.
Oh, crap. What did I say? It's 5, right? Because it's just 1 rank in it.
In Let's Ride?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you buy Let's Ride and it's 5. But then you can look down to see Let's Ride leads to rapid recovery. When recovering strain after an encounter, recover 1 additional strain rank per rapid recovery. That's not too bad. Remember, in the beginner game, y'all started out and y'all were sprinting through the streets and you ran into the cantina, so you started with 1 strain. And then after, you were allowed to regain some strain. This would let you gain more of that at a time. I don't think it's super necessary to have it at character gen, so we might use those 10 to buy some more skills. However, we can take that and look at the 2 things accessible after it, because rapid recovery leads to Galaxy Mapper, which removes setback from astrogation, which I don't feel is super important right now. But we can also reach Natural Pilot, which lets you once per game session reroll 1 piloting check or gunnery check.
Which is very nice.
Which is very nice, especially if we're doing a weeknight game. You look out on the fact that we're doing 3-hour sessions, so instead of we're playing in person 6-hour 2 to 8 crawl, you get to basically use that ability every 3 hours.
Which is very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
So if you did Let's Ride, Rapid Recovery, Natural Pilot, that would just be 30 XP to get all 3 of those. So 5, 10, and then 15. However, keep in mind what else is on your skill tree. So you can make it all the way down into Natural Pilot, but you could tag Let's Ride, and then you could like jump over and get Full Throttle and Skill Jockey for the same cost. But up to you. It's it's one of those things where the deeper you go on the tree, the more expensive stuff's going to be, but also the cooler it is. And then later on, as you get XP here and there, you can come back and tag. So like if you go to Natural Pilot now, after the first session, when you get 10 XP, you can either buff up some of your skills that you didn't get during character gen, or you could go, I got 10, let me go ahead and grab Full Throttle, and then, Skill Jockey.
So because the Celestin already has Skill Jockey, would that count in the talent tree?
Yeah, you have 1 rank of Skill Jockey. If you spent 5 and got another Skill Jockey off that top row, you would have 2 ranks in Skill Jockey, so you would remove 2 black die. And then
because I want to make sure I'm understanding the tree properly. So to get Dead to Rights, I need to have Skill Jockey. I need to have
no. So you only need 1 connection. To get Dead to Rights, you can buy Skill Jockey and then Dead to Rights, or you can buy Full Throttle, Skill Jockey, then get Dead to Rights. But then if you didn't want to go to improve Dead to Rights, you could jump on down to improve Full Throttle.
So because I already have the 1 rank in skilled jockey,
Well,
I got full throttle.
just remember, you may have a rank in skilled jockey, but you do not have that skilled jockey.
Oh, okay.
So you still need to purchase full throttle first and then skilled jockey, but then your character has 2 ranks of skilled jockey for the benefit of skilled jockey. But just because you buy skilled jockey there doesn't mean it also counts somewhere else. This isn't the best tree because both of your skill jockeys point to the same place.
Yeah. So the skill jockey you have doesn't count towards
on
the
your
skill
tree. No, it just counts on the ability. It's your race roll or your species. Sorry, D&D terms. Your species gives you that bonus. The thing is if you were a brand new pilot and you spent 5 to grab the skill jockey in that top row, it would immediately remove 2 black die, where everyone else would only be doing 1.
Okay, that's cool.
But since you already have it, I feel like I'm not sure all the things off the top of my head that would slap a setback die down on your piloting skills. So I would focus more on making your piloting skills awesome rather than removing things that hamper your piloting skills, because I don't know all the situations in which you would have setback die on your piloting. So removing setbacks only apply when you have a setback. Increasing your abilities always apply whether you have a setback or not. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So having, in this case, hold on, gotta sneeze. Give me a moment. Or not. Thought I was gonna sneeze. Anyhow, so getting, like, say, Let's Ride and Rapid Recovery, that would be 15 total.
Yep.
Of the 40 I have remaining.
Yep.
So I have 25 left to spend. It's like Let's Ride, Rapid Recovery, Natural Pilot, and then full throttle. And that would leave me still with, what, 5 remaining? 5.
So
15,
remember,
30, 35.
We can also buy skills. So look at your skill tree or your skill page of your character sheet and see if there's any skills you think you need to bump up. Now, we can't bump up piloting space anymore because we're already at 2, so we don't really need to worry about that one. You could bump up piloting planetary to the 2nd rank, but that's going to cost you 10. Not super important, and you can buy it later. Doesn't super matter. Perception is handy. You could bump that one up to 2, but again, you can bump it up to 2 anytime. So you're choosing to buy talents now and have the talents, and then, after the first session, when you get your 10 XP, you can come back and bump them skills up, or vice versa. So you got your important 1 to 2, which is your space piloting. You're the pilot. That should be at 2. Because so many of your specialization skills coincide with your career skills, a bunch of them can go up to 2. And you have...
Oh, hold on.
Yep, 1 sec.
Sorry. What was I going to say? Eric came in and said that there is a raid happening at 5:30. Well, but we're going to do it at 6. So in like 15 minutes, I'll take off for probably like 20 minutes.
No worries.
And do a raid.
I forgot there was one happening in the park across the street, and I probably missed it by now. Not important. I didn't see the Discord talking about it anyways. What I was saying is a lot of career and specialization can get up to 12 unique career skills. However, yours double up and you got 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. You only have 8 skills that are career skills instead of the full 12. But yours can be higher because you got them from two sources, but you have your important bases covered. You have skills in the things that you're going to do, which is fly and shoot. So if you were to buy a skill rank, the things that you would be looking at is rank 2 of ranged light, which is going to be your blaster. Rank 2 of perception, which is going to be seeing traps and catching on to stuff. Maybe cool, but not necessary. Or whether you want to drop a cross-class skill into any knowledge skills or vigilance, which are again niceties, but not super important, especially not right now. So, what did we say? That was 30 on the talent tree?
Yeah, I'm back. Where'd my window go? There we go. So, let's ride rapid recovery and natural pilot are 30.
Yeah, so that leaves you 10
total.
So rank 2 of perception is 10, rank 2 of ranged light is 10, rank 2 of cool is 10, or rank 1 of any of the knowledge skills or streetwise or skullduggery are all 10. Or you could spend 10, and you don't have to spend everything now. You could grab a full throttle and save 5. Or grab a full throttle and dump 1 skill rank into mechanics.
I mean, that seems cool. Yeah, because like we can boost skills later. It's just characteristics we can't boost after this, right?
Yep.
Then yeah, I like that plan. That sounds good.
You could save 5 too. You don't have to spend the 5 on the mechanics if you don't care about mechanics, or if you're like, fuck it, we have the little gadgeteer Shadrafan over there who will be doing all the mechanics checks, so I'll just save that 5 XP for when I get my first XP payout and then buy something bigger.
So many options.
That's the great thing. There are so many options. So many options in this game.
No, I'll spend it all. Why not?
Okay. Do you want to buy, for that final 5, you can buy mechanics or gunnery?
I'll do mechanics.
Especially since you're the best pilot, you probably shouldn't be sitting in the gun. Unless it's one of those ships that the pilot is also the gunner, but you know, whatever.
But who would do something so crazy?
Who indeed. Alright, so keep in mind that you have those things on your talent tree purchased, and we move on. What do we move on to? We move on to buying gear.
That sounds fun.
Oh yeah, super fun. You're in the Age of Rebellion book?
Yes.
I'm going to need you to swap to the Edge of the Empire book because that's the system we're playing, and so that's going to be the thing that determines your resources. And you're going to start on about page 40-ish, but I'll be right back. I'm going to fill my water up.
Okay.
I have returned.
Welcome back.
Did you get to that page where it starts with starting obligations and stuff?
Just got to obligation. I was reading character backgrounds and skimming through that, and now I'm at obligation.
All right. Well, obligation in Edge of the Empire is, part of your character building, but also you don't exist in the world of Edge of the Empire without owing somebody something. Right? So this is Han Solo at the start of episode 4 when he's like, I'll get Jabba his money. He's got Greedo coming after him because Jabba's put a bounty out on him and stuff like that. And this can be anything from favors that you owe somebody to money that you borrowed from somebody to life debt, stuff like that. The starting obligation you'll see for 4 players, it's recommended that each person have 10 obligation, but you can obligate yourself further. So for 10 obligation, if you look down on the bottom of that page, you'll see that you can get yourself 2,500 starting credits. And for the 5 obligation, you can get 1,000. So it's, more prevalent to take a full 10 obligation and get the bonus 500 credits, which is really nice. But we'll see if you spend next to no money because you only get 500 starting credits during gear purchasing. And a lot of times, like a pistol is 400. So if you want both armor and a weapon, it usually you have to take some obligation to get the money for it. But the point is you may take that 10 obligation to get 2,500 credits, but that doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't mean you borrowed 2,500 credits from someone. It can be anything, but taking that obligation gives you the starting money now. So you could have, say, you have a bounty out on your head, or you could say that, since you're that ship boosting dude, you boosted somebody's ship and they've put a bounty out on you. Or you could say that in your last speeder bike race, you were racing a vehicle that you totally hadn't paid off yet, and there was an air quote accident, and now you didn't win the race, so you don't have the money, and you wrecked a bike, so you don't have the bike, so you totally owe somebody. Any of that kind of mindset. So what it actually is discussed on the next page. Not the next page. The previous page. Obligation types, right?
Yeah.
And that's all.
So these are just kind of picked at random from the die, right?
Can be. Doesn't have to be. If you want the thing to be a bounty, knock yourself out. Say, I want a bounty out on my head. And I will go in and help you come up with a reason why. At the beginning of the module that we're running, it gives me several ways to adventure hook you guys in and say, oh, well, if somebody has a bounty out on their head, this is what happens. Or if somebody has a debt, you could make this be in exchange for the debt, you're going to do a job for this person. So we can work together to say, okay, well, you have a debt and you have that debt to this person in your backstory, or we can figure out, okay, well, here's the NPC that's going to give you the quest, so why don't we just say that your backstory is that you have a debt to him, and we'll work out the details of your life before the game start that leads you into, I have to go on this mission for this guy because I owe him a favor, because he's my family member, because if I don't, he's going to send bounty hunters at me, or, whatever. So, Again, not important that you pick the exact nature now, but it is important that we know how much obligation you have. Ashley has 10, and I believe Steven has 20.
And so we start off with a base of 10, and then there are things that we can pick that will cost us.
It is recommended that you have a base of 10. If you choose 0 and you just take 500 cash and you buy yourself a 400 credit pistol and that's it, then you are done. If you want to be 0 to counterbalance Steven's 20, then so be it. However, you are making the choice to get less stuff to have less obligation. It's the drawback, right? Double-edged sword. Get more stuff now.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, Eric popped back in. He's just confirming that we are doing the raid, but again, that's not for another
Register.
I don't know, actually. Hold on. Nah, you can't hear me. He's in the kitchen or something, I think.
It is all
it's
good.
something. So you don't have a base of 10. You're starting at 0, but you can.
Yeah.
It's just saying it. If you've got this many people, maybe have this much
Yeah.
obligation.
That's the average. So that if everyone in the party takes 20 obligation, you know that you are way above average. Because the more obligation you have, I, as the GM, get to say that you are creating more ripples in the galaxy. And if you are 5 people walking around with 20 obligations and 2 people have bounties on their head and one of them owes a favor to a hut and one of them has, a warrant for their arrest for stealing a speeder and stuff like this, I can start making things happen based on the amount of notoriety that the group has.
Yeah, it'd be like,
yeah,
you're drawing a lot of heat.
Yeah, and that's what this is. You get more stuff, but you get more stuff because you are drawing attention to yourself.
Makes sense. I mean, so we already have one person that's drawing quite a bit.
I mean, not too bad, but yeah.
But if I just take an additional 5, I get double money. Because you start off with 500, right? But if I take 5, I get 1,000 instead of 500.
You get 1,500 instead of.
Oh,
it's plus 1,000.
Okay.
However, note that 5 gets you 1,000, but 10 gets you 2,500.
But then that's a lot of obligation.
10 is standard obligation.
Oh, man, I keep on writing this wrong. Okay, so yeah, then
10 is average for a 4-person party. So
okay,
Steven may be above average, but that doesn't mean that somebody has to be below average. That just means that Steven will have more ripples in the pond, and I can say suddenly this person shows up because Steven, and you guys can then in character go, fucking little bat mouse tinkering thing, it's about time that you pay the motherfucker back so he will stop sending people to kill us.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's
then I would pick the I would definitely pick the 2,500 starting credits option for the average amount of obligation.
Cool. You now have 3 grand monies.
Woo!
Let's go to chapter 5. Gear and equipment.
Wait, what page is that?
Which book are you in?
Edge. Yeah, Edge.
I think they're mostly the same, but let's stick to Edge for now.
Okay.
Like page 150. My bad. More scrolling. First thing you want is a weapon, so go to 160. .161 has your melee weapons. I don't particularly see you as
a melee guy
bursting for one of those straight out the gate. You have real good ranged light, so keep in mind that any of those top ones, your holdout blasters, blaster pistols, light blaster pistols, and heavy blaster pistols, you're really good with. And the same thing for your ionized blaster and disruptor pistols, which you cannot purchase a disruptor pistol because it's restricted. You see the R on light repeating blaster cost?
Let me get down to that. See how the description is. Where's the table?
160.
160. That's one on 164. Hold on. 162, 161, 160. Okay, there we go. So, energy weapons.
You see the
R,
R,
yes, R,
in the
yes.
price column? You can't buy anything with an R right now.
Okay, because it's just too darn good to have off the bat.
Basically.
And there's probably good reasons. Like, you're probably not just strolling into a rando weapon shop and being like, yes, the disruptor pistol available at every street corner.
Right. So the rarity is actually a separate column. So yeah, it's not only not in every street corner. Restricted is just you can't have it while starting because you don't start out having an automatic laser rifle.
Yeah, makes sense.
But a regular blaster pistol is a very respectable weapon.
Then, yeah, blaster pistol for sure.
You do have the option of upgrading it to a heavy, which gets you 1 more damage, and gives you 1 more damage for 300 more credit. But it's also slightly heavier and takes 1 more encumbrance. I would say just keep blaster pistol in mind for now for 400, and I'm gonna jot that down on my end in case we have some extra monies on the back end. We can look at upgrading.
Yeah, I'd say blaster pistol, good to go. Looking at all these weapons makes me want to play Battlefront, but no one plays the first one anymore, and the second one was a travesty.
Well,
it's so sad because like there's a good game in there.
Yeah.
And EA, just ruined it. But like the actual game itself, like the mechanics, the graphics, everything about it, like it was a gorgeous game. It played really well, but there was just a bunch of like, I don't want to call them exterior, but other things that got tacked on.
Yeah.
That took what could have been a really great game and made it so people don't want to play it. And it's sad. But
I didn't even play the first one past the demo because I got tired of EA, basically.
I got the first one. I got the deluxe one. I remember Chris bought it for me for my birthday.
Played the shiz out of it for a little bit there.
Yeah, I was playing the crap out of it, but then the community, they just like dropped off a cliff.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where it's like I'd fire up the game. I'm like, all right, let's play. And then I could never find a game to play because there was no one on.
Yeah.
Which is just like, that's so frustrating. It's like, this game cost somebody $80 and it's useless now.
It's good for a year and then it's not the thing anymore.
Yeah, it's like basically the digital equivalent of a paperweight because there's no one playing the game now and it's multiplayer only. So it's like I can't even hop in there and just like play by myself.
There's a lot of achievements on games like that where I started them after the crowd had already gone through them. And so like the Tomb Raider, the first Tomb Raider game, the first modern Tomb Raider game, I guess I should specify. There's a bunch of multiplayer achievements, and I believe you remembered. I think I had you jump in there and help me with some of them where it's like, stand here and shoot me 4 times so I get this achievement.
Oh, yeah.
But like the crowd has moved on, so now there's no way to go back in and get those achievements without just begging your friends to make a private match. But at least that game had a single-player campaign. There are other multiplayer games like, what was the horrible Bethesda game, Brink, where it's like, well, I got NPCs at least, I guess, but this clearly is not what this game is meant for. And then you have games that just, there's not NPCs. If you don't have a full lobby, you don't play.
Yeah, and that's like, just so, like, it's one thing when it's a free-to-play game. Like, if there was no community for Fortnite, fine, it's free. Who cares? You know, but if you pay $80 for a game and it's a game that absolutely 100% depends on there being thousands of other people playing at the same time, but
Yep.
then you make the game such that no one wants to play it.
Shoot
God.
yourself in the damn foot.
Yeah.
Well, let's channel some of that anger into page 170 and look at some armor. Because we need some thick skin after talking about EA.
Yeah.
There are lots of other armor listed in the indexes that I linked in the resources channel, but this is a good place to start because most of this shit is the stuff you would be buying anyway. But we've only spent 400 of our 3K, so if you wanted to be Mr. Fancy Big Spender and go straight for the laminate Stormtrooper armor, you do have the money to technically do that.
That seems excessive though. Like,
Doesn't it though? Doesn't it?
I feel like armored clothing, like probably the most I would want to do, or maybe
So
padded armor or something. Something that's like, okay,
Yeah.
there's some defense here, but it's not like I'm going into battle.
All right, so let's discuss the difference in an armored clothing and padded armor before we expand our search.
Okay.
Heavy clothing, cheap, right? $50
Mhm.
gets you one soak, done. No hard points, can't add anything onto it. It's literally clothes. But then you have armored clothing and padded armor. One of them is more expensive than the other, but they both have 2 points. One of them has 2 points in soak, and one of them has 2 points, one in soak and one in defense. Soak is that number that automatically reduces damage done to you. If you take 5 damage from somebody's shot and you have 3 soak, you only take 2 damage. So the padded armor would reduce a shot of 5 to 2. The armored clothing would reduce a shot of 5 to... I said that wrong. Padded armor reduces 5 to 3. Armored clothing reduces 5 to 4. However, it has 1 point of defense. And what defense does is when somebody is shooting at you, they have to put a setback die into their die pool to shoot you in the first place.
So they make it harder to hit. That's almost
Right.
like the armor class in D&D
Right.
a little bit.
Right. So what we are looking at is whether we are increasing our hit points or our armor class in D&D terms. If we increase our armor class, we reduce the chance of them hitting us at all. If we increase our hit points, we live longer, but
You take more hits.
You will take more hits. And it's not the perfect metaphor because we have wound threshold, which is our actual hit points here. But what you have to do is you have to think about the fact that the setback die has 6 sides. 2 of them are blank, 2 of them are failure, 2 of them are threat. So 1/3 of the time that setback die is going to do absolutely nothing for you. 1/3 of the time that setback die is going to give them 1 more failure, possibly keeping them from hitting you altogether. And 1/3 of the time it's not going to stop them from hitting you, but it is going to give them threat so that there is a negative impact for them having shot you. The padded armor is just going to be, oh, you shot me, reduce it. If anything hits you for your soak value or less, you just take no damage. So high soak is good because you can just go, okay, you hit me for 4, my soak is 4, I take nothing. Done.
Okay. But then another thing here is encumbrance. I don't really know how that works.
Encumbrance is, remember in D&D how everything has a weight attached to it?
Yeah.
Instead of fucking around with all that shit for Star Wars, they decided to just make it very cut and dry. Focus more on whether something's big and bulky, not whether it weighs 10 pounds or 15.
Mm-hmm.
In D&D, there's nothing stopping you from looking at your Goliath's sheet and going, I have a strength of 20. I can carry, random number, 500 pounds. Shovels weigh a pound, thus I can carry 500 shovels.
Which,
right,
in practical terms, makes no sense because shovels are big and hard to carry more than one.
Right. So this is more about things like a vibro axe or a pole arm or a full set of laminate armor have huge encumbrance. Imagine taking an entire stormtrooper's armor off and then trying to walk around with it.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good time.
So, the good thing about encumbrance is while you're wearing the armor, your encumbrance is reduced by 4 of that armor. So if you're wearing some adverse environmental gear, while you're wearing it, its encumbrance is 0 because you reduce the 2 by 4 and it's 0.
Because
So
wearing something is easier than if wearing something
carrying.
that's meant to be worn is easier than carrying something
Right.
that's meant to be worn. Okay.
Right. So encumbrance for all of the armor that we're looking at doesn't actually matter as long as you're wearing it.
Especially since the only one that has an encumbrance more than 4 is restricted anyway.
Right. Well, again, there are other ones out there. There's some 8s and stuff out there for like Mandalorian armor and shit.
Makes sense.
But so encumbrance not super a factor here. What you're comparing is whether you want 2 soak to reduce damage altogether or whether you want to be flinging setback dies and anyone's shooting at you.
Well, in that case, I feel like
soak is the
feel like
face
the arm-
bet. The defense is the gamble.
Yeah, I'd say I think that armored clothing is the way to go here then. It's a little bit more expensive, but it has a hard point, whatever that is. Sounds like it'd be useful.
Hard points allow you to mount stuff on them, and we'll get into modifications in just a second. But I'm going to go ahead and jot down that you were looking at some armor red clothing. Which means you have spent $1,400.
Woo! Of my 3,000 total?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is bad that you have a lot left over. We still have more shit to buy. You can buy secondary weapons, or you can buy modifications for the weapon and the armor that you do have, or you can start pulling all that money into a giant pile so that you can buy things like ships and stuff.
Ooh.
Go to the resources channel.
Okay.
The very last link says weapon modification, and it's a big stupid silhouette that has some orange pieces on it.
Resources. Weapon modification?
The very bottom one, yeah.
Yeah. Just want to make sure it's clicking the right thing. Oh no, don't open it up and oh, it's an image. Okay.
It's fine.
It's like don't open it up in Chrome. Oh, it is not the best image.
It is not the best, but it's okay. I just want to talk to you about hard points.
Okay.
See how that gun has a hard point of 3?
Uh-huh.
So that means that you can combine modifications totaling 3. Down on the bottom of these multi-optic sights and actuating modules, you'll see that they say hard points required 1 for each of them. So if you follow the black arrow from the HP to each of those blocks, you'll see each of those blocks equals 3, so you can slap all 3 of those things onto that gun. There might be modifications that cost 2 or even 3, so you could put 3 1s on there, a 2 and a 1, or 1 3 onto that weapon. Your armor has a hard point of 1, meaning you can put 1 hard point 1 required modification onto your armor.
Cool.
Cool?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what hard points do. All of that other shit is not super important right now. The bottom part is kind of important because you need to do mechanic checks.
Mm-hmm.
So to install the mod, you need 100 credits to get the components to slap it on there. And then you make a hard mechanic check. Well, you have a little rat man running around who's super good at mechanics. So you might just be like, I'll give you the 100 credits. Please install this on my gear. And then the more stuff you have, the purples is saying the more things you install, the harder it is to install the next one.
Right. Okay. So it makes sense. More complicated stuff is more complicated to put on. Don't mind me moving my mic because I moved my chair.
Yep, so armor attachments. Um, let's see what else. Oh, you're doing all sorts of crazy noises over there.
Yeah, I'm trying to point it more towards me, but not close enough to the fan that you can start hearing the hum. I mean, you probably can't regardless, but I can.
For 200 credits, you can integrate a comm link into your armor. I just think that's kind of funny.
So you could talk to people.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
Star
you still
Trek
have to
style?
buy a comm link, but it's funny that you can integrate it into your clothes so that somebody couldn't confiscate your comm link.
That is cool. I'm sure it would be useful for some things.
You can, for 1,000 credits, you can buy a weapon mount, and you can mount a weapon on your armor, as long as the encumbrance is 4 or less. You can put integrated holsters on it for 300 credits. Actually, no, that one costs too much to install on your armor. I'm just reading stuff so that I can learn. But you can put 2 holsters for weapons that reduces the encumbrance of those weapons. I'm not seeing anything that's like super important for you. I think it might be better to just have the money and spend it on incidentals. Unless you really want to spend 1,000 credits putting an integrated heating system into your pants.
I forgot I was muted.
That's cool. I was laughing at all my own jokes.
I was laughing too. Yeah, the heated pants would sound wonderful on Hoth, I guess. But I don't know if we're gonna be anywhere so cold.
You don't know where you're going, so I wouldn't spend 1,000 credits on it. But we have 1,600 credits to spend, and I would say that you should probably jump on over to 182 and start looking at them kind of things.
182. Oh, went too far. There we
Because
go. All right.
you got
Gear and equipment.
got a long range comm link there, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, you gotta imagine that's handy to have.
Some of the scanners and stuff like that might be worth taking a look at.
So my question is, there's Comlink handheld, which is very cheap, and Comlink long range. Is the long range one also handheld?
I will go
Or
look.
would- Okay.
You know, I don't see anywhere where it talks about the difference in the two.
Then I will assume it's just a beefier version of common device. Some models are built into helmets, longer range, usually carried as large satchels or in backpacks and can reach across the planet. So
Long
Just those
range.
things.
Oh, I found why. There's a hyphen in the middle of it here. When I searched, it didn't hit the hyphen. Long range versions are usually carries as large satchels, like you just said. So a comlink fits in your hand. A long range one is going to be like your backpack radio.
Okay. So in that case, I'll probably just have the handheld one.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
How much was that?
25. It's cheap. And then what else would I want?
I was looking at some of the electro binoculars and scanner type stuff to see if that would be handy to have. You can get yourself a Sabic deck for 40 credits.
Wait, what? Where? What? Oh, yeah?
You can get slicer gear for 500 and electronic light. Oh, that's restricted. Scramblers and jammers. It's not bad to have some stim packs though. Keep that in mind. 25 a piece.
Yeah.
Even if you spend 100, you get 4 of them.
You get 3, and then I will have spent 100 total so far.
That is also true. And if you do that, that puts you at an even 1,500.
This is toolkit. As someone who steals things, I would imagine a toolkit is something I should have. Given that those things are vehicles.
Yeah.
So toolkit.
There's also a chart on the top of the next page too, so don't forget that.
Oh yeah. It's
oh, okay. You're already on it. Yeah.
So a toolkit, a utility belt, and then I'd get an additional stim pack because then that would be a grand total of 400 on top of the 100 that I already spent. So that's 500 total. Bring me down to 1,100.
Toolkit is 350. You said a utility belt?
Yeah. And then an additional stim pack, just making that a total around 400 on top of the 100. So I've spent 500, 1,100 remaining.
We can look in other books too. Don't forget.
Okay, let me go to. I have Age of Rebellion.
So, a lot of them are going to be similar stuff, like backpacks in both of them. But maybe you want a fucking fusion cutter. I don't know if that was in the Edge of the Empire gear.
Let's see. I'm scrolling. Oh, hey, there we go. Gear.
Page 187 of the PDF. In case you want a set of handcuffs or a restraining bolt for droids. There's survival gear like ration packs, a tent. Wonder how much use a tent sees in a game where you spend a lot of your time in your spaceship.
I mean, I guess.
I feel like rebel agents hiking across the jungle would need it.
Yeah. If you're doing a lot of like planetary excursions.
Yeah.
personal stealth field. Well, that's only 20,000 credits.
Only.
Fusion cutter. What does that do? Just cuts things.
No.
There we go. Infiltration and espionage equipment.
Hey.
Comm jammer. Junk data. The lockbreaker I can't get anyway. And apparently, Slicer is Star Wars speak for hacker.
Sorry, I was sneezing. Slicer? What?
Yeah. Oh, I just
Yeah.
saw Slicer gear.
Like
Yeah,
slicing
same way.
into computers and tablets and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Handheld portable cutting torches are found through the galaxy. Technical, small, high-powered fusion batteries produce an attention plasma cutter beams to use. Mode material to come apart. Seems like something. I mean, I don't know how often are even things like speeders held with like a physical lock.
I haven't played the game enough to tell you. It's never come up in any of my games. It's always been computer locks. But again, I've only done one-shots.
Yeah. Well. I lost my page with the stuff. I scrolled too far. There we go. Actually, no, that's weapons. I want a comm jammer, but it's kind of pricey, so I won't get
How
it.
much does it cost?
400.
You got 1,000 left?
Yeah. 1,100. We spent 500.
If you want it, buy it now so that you don't have to try and find one later. What's the rarity on it?
3.
Not overtly super rare, but better to have it now instead of if you buy it now, then you got it. If you don't buy it now and then you start and your first thing to do is fly to the middle of nowhere outer rim where you're doing stuff, but you don't go back to up market, then you might not be able to get it even once you have the money until you go back to like a space station or a bigger city.
What would be like a rarity 2? Because a fusion cutter is 2, but a fusion cutter is also 175. Which isn't
it breaks the
expensive.
rarity down at the start of the chapter. It's not so much worried about the difference in the actual size of the town. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I'm trying to let you know that in the game Beyond the Rim, there are parts of it where you might be out and not able to necessarily resupply unless you go back to civilization.
Yeah.
So I'm not telling you to spend all your money. It is important that you have money with you. So don't be afraid of sitting on 1,000 credits so that you can buy a cooler ship down the line. But if you want something and you think you're going to need it to be your character, like, don't be afraid to buy stuff now instead of head to the outer rim and not. You will start out I'll tell you now, you'll start out in a space station, so you can go find stuff.
Okay. So I'll get the jammer. but
Yeah.
probably not the cutter.
I will probably also say that, like, for the first 3-ish sessions, since we're totally new to all the rules, if you want to, like, say, I should have bought, or, you know what, based on what everyone else picked, I don't think I need a comm jammer. Can I return it for the money? I'll give everyone, like, 3 sessions to, like, sort their gear.
Okay, makes sense.
So, as long as you
So I get
track...
that, and then unless there's anything else that seems super pressing, I guess call my gear buying done. But then also I have to pause and put on shoes so I can go do the raid because we're gonna leave in like 5 minutes.
So with the purchase of gear, we're kind of done-ish, right? We can come in and clean up the rest later, but like your character is basically there. You got your stats, you got your skills, you bought your gear. We can hunt art and make a backstory throughout the week as I go help her make dinner and stuff. But like,
sounds good.
Gear was the last big, like, going from not having a character to having a character.
Sweet. Well,
Cool.
in that case, good stopping point.
Yep, and I'll be around for the rest of the evening. I gotta buzz my hair, but I'll be around if you want to, like, chat more.
Cool. Well, thank you for the help, and I'll be back as soon as I get back from the raid. I will be right back here.
Okay, I'm gonna eat food, and I'll be right back here.
All right, I'll be back in a bit. Have fun.